Chioma Adeyemi had 27 days left before her entire life collapsed. Her student visa was hanging by a thread. Her savings account showed a balance that made her stomach turn. And tonight, this single job interview was supposed to be the last fragile rope holding her future together. What she didn't know was that before midnight, that rope would snap. She didn't know that the interview she'd fought so hard to reach would fall apart in seconds. And she definitely didn't know that on this same night, she would walk straight into the path of the paralyzed Mafia boss who ruled half of Seoul's underworld from a wheelchair of polished chrome and silent power. She didn't know he'd been stood up on a blind date minutes earlier. She didn't know he carried the truth about the fire that killed her mother and sister. She wasn't prepared for any of it. Not the humiliation, not the danger, not the way her world would twist into something unrecognizable. All Chioma knew tonight was rain. Cold, relentless rain, beating against her thin jacket as she ran through Gangnam's glittering streets, gripping hope so tightly it hurt. The bus had died 20 minutes outside Gangnam, passengers groaning as the driver announced mechanical failure. She had stood on that dark roadside watching her phone battery drain to 3% while she frantically searched for another route. But Saul didn't care about her desperation. By the time she stumbled off at her stop, her clothes were soaked through, and her chest burned from running 6 blocks in wet shoes. Lumière rose before her like a glass cathedral, all golden light and crystal chandeliers. The kind of restaurant where a single meal cost more than her monthly rent. She stood outside, catching her breath, water dripping from her hair, watching elegant couples glide through doors held open by staff in pristine uniforms. She didn't belong here, but the couple inside were her last chance. She pushed through the doors. Warmth hit her first, then the wave of stares. Eyes tracked her across the marble floor as she scanned frantically for the couple from the job posting photo. There, by the window. "I'm so sorry I'm late," she rushed toward them, words tumbling out. "The bus broke down and then the rain started and I tried to call but my phone died." The man stood abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. His eyes traveled over her soaked clothes with undisguised disgust. 40 minutes late, looking like you just crawled out of the Han River. You think this is professional? Please, the bus broke down. I couldn't control. We've already decided. The woman beside him gathered her coat, movements sharp and final. You're clearly not serious about this position. I am serious. I took 2 buses because I couldn't afford a taxi, and the first one broke down, and that's not our problem. The man's voice cut through her explanation like a knife. Goodbye, Miss Adeyemi. They turned away, already dismissing her from memory. She turned too quickly, panic making her clumsy, and her backpack swung wide. She felt it connect with something solid. Red wine exploded across white marble. Crystal shattered. The sound echoed through the restaurant like a gunshot. And then there was silence. Perfect, terrible silence. She stood frozen, watching the wine spread like blood. Every eye in the restaurant fixed on her. The manager materialized, his face purple with rage. That wine cost 8 million won. You'll pay for this immediately. 8 million won? Chi's entire body went cold. I don't have that kind of money, but I can work it off. I can clean. I'll do anything. Get out before I call the police. The couple who'd interviewed her were already at the door, their silhouettes disappearing into the night without a backward glance. Chi stood frozen in the spreading puddle of wine, her shoes soaked through, her hands trembling so violently she had to ball them into fists. The whispers crawled across the restaurant like insects. She could feel them on her skin, in her ears, behind her eyes. Pathetic. Did you see? Foreign girl. No manners. What was she thinking? Heat flooded her face, her vision blurred. 27 days. That's all she had left. 27 days before they put her on a plane back to a country that felt like a grave, back to questions she couldn't answer, back to failure so complete it would suffocate her. "Excuse me." The voice cut through the noise like a knife through silk. Not loud, not aggressive, just absolute. The kind of voice that didn't ask for attention because it owned it already. The restaurant fell silent. Not the awkward silence from before, but something heavier. Something that tasted like fear and respect mixed together. Chi's head snapped up. A man was moving toward her through the crowd, and people stepped back before he even reached them. Not stumbling back, not making a show of it, just melting away like they'd been taught this dance a long time ago. His wheelchair rolled forward with the kind of precision that made it look less like a medical device and more like a throne on wheels. Chrome gleamed under the chandelier light, polished to a mirror shine. His suit was dark, charcoal, maybe, black, tailored so perfectly it looked like it had been sewn directly onto his body. But it was his face that made Chi's breath catch. Angular, sharp cheekbones, a jawline that could cut glass. Handsome in the way a blade is beautiful. Dangerous, elegant, made for purpose. And his eyes. God, his eyes. Dark and deep and intelligent in a way that made her feel like he could see straight through her skin into all the messy, desperate parts she kept hidden. He stopped directly in front of the manager, and the shift in the man's demeanor was almost comical. The purple rage drained from his face, replaced by something close to terror wrapped in a smile. "Mr. King, I didn't realize you were still—" "Of course, we can put it on my bill." 3 words. That was all it took. "Of course, right away, sir. Please accept my deepest apologies for the disturbance," but Mr. King wasn't listening anymore. He had already dismissed the manager from existence. His gaze shifted, landed on Chi like a spotlight, and she felt the weight of it in her chest, in her bones. She was still standing in the wine, still shaking, still a disaster. But something in the way he looked at her, not with pity, not with disgust, but with curiosity? Assessment? Made her spine straighten despite everything. Made her lift her chin, even though her world was falling apart around her ankles. "You need work?" His voice was quieter now, meant only for her. It sounded like expensive whiskey and late-night conversations and promises that might actually be kept. Chi opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Her throat had sealed shut. Her voice trapped somewhere behind the knot of panic and confusion and desperate, insane hope. She nodded instead. Once, sharp. "Sit down." "Sir, I don't think I should—" The words finally broke free, tumbling out. "I've already caused so much trouble. I should just go. I'll find a way to pay for the wine somehow. I'm so—" "Either sit or leave. Choose quickly." Not cruel, not impatient, just final. Like he'd offered her something rare and wouldn't offer it twice. Chi's legs moved before her brain caught up. She sank into the chair across from him, the leather still warm from whoever had been sitting there before, whoever had left him sitting alone in this golden restaurant. The entire dining room was watching now, not even pretending to look at their plates anymore. Mr. Kang studied her the way someone might study a chess piece, considering angles, calculating value, seeing moves she couldn't even imagine yet. His fingers drummed once against the armrest of his wheelchair, then went still. Chi met his gaze and refused to look away. If this was some kind of test, she wouldn't fail it. Not this time. "You speak Korean." Not a question, a statement waiting to be confirmed or corrected. "Yes. Yes, sir." "Read and write?" "Yes, sir." "Any family in Seoul?" She hesitated. Something cold and dark flickered through her chest. Memories of fire, of screaming, of a hospital room where she woke up alone. "No." "Good." He gestured with one hand, A small movement, almost lazy, and a man materialized from the shadows near the bar. Tall, expressionless, the kind of person who looked like violence wearing a suit. He produced a folded document from inside his jacket with the smooth efficiency of someone who'd done this before, and placed it on the table between them with surgical precision. Personal assistant position. You'll live on my property. Be available when I need you, day or night. Mr. Kang tapped the paper once with his index finger. The salary is listed there. Chi's eyes dropped to the document. Her breath stopped. The number written in clean, precise handwriting made her dizzy. That was more money than she'd earned in the last year, working 3 jobs. More than she'd earned in the last 2 years. It was rent and food and tuition and breathing room and possibilities she'd stopped letting herself imagine. Her gaze snapped back to his face, searching desperately for the catch, the trap, the lie hiding underneath the offer. Why would you... Does it matter? Yes. The word came out harder than she meant it to. Yes, it matters. People don't just... Nobody does this. Not for strangers. Not for someone who just destroyed an 8 million won bottle of wine. Something flickered across his face. Surprise, maybe, or something closer to respect. The corner of his mouth almost lifted. Almost. Because everyone in this room just watched 2 people decide we weren't worth their time. That woman left because she couldn't see past this wheelchair. She looked at me and saw a burden, a limitation, something broken that needed to be fixed or avoided. Those people, he nodded toward the door where the couple had disappeared, they left because you were poor and late and wet. They looked at you and saw an inconvenience. They saw someone who didn't fit their picture of a professional, someone who takes buses instead of taxis, someone who works too hard for too little. They didn't see a person fighting against a world that doesn't make anything easy. They didn't see someone who took 2 buses in the rain and still showed up. They didn't see someone who tried to fix her mistake instead of running away. He leaned forward slightly, and the wheelchair caught the candlelight, throwing shadows across his face that made him look both younger and infinitely older at the same time. I'm choosing you, Miss ADME, right now, in front of all of them, in front of everyone who's watching and whispering and judging. You can pick up that pen, sign that contract, and come with me. Or you can walk out that door and go back to whatever life you were living before you walked in here, soaking wet and desperate. He paused. The silence stretched. Decide now. Chi's hand trembled as she picked up the pen, but her signature was steady. Mr. Kang glanced at it. Chioma ADME. Everyone calls me Chi. He looked up, his voice carrying across the restaurant. She works for me now. That means she's under my protection. I trust everyone here understands what that means. The temperature dropped. People found their plates fascinating. Come on, we're leaving. In the car, rain drummed on the roof. Chi sat in the back beside Mr. Kang's wheelchair, secured by the man called Minho. The leather was butter soft and the car smelled expensive. They pulled away smoothly. Silence stretched. Chi's heart was still pounding. I should probably know your name, sir. Your full name. Kang Ji-won. Please, what kind of business do you run, Mr. Kang? The kind people don't ask questions about. Chi processed that. Sir, is it legal? Some of it. The city lights washed across the windows in waves. Wait. Am I in danger? Everyone's in danger. But you're safer with me than you were an hour ago. Living in whatever Goshiwon you're renting, working 3 jobs, always 1 bad month from deportation. Chi bristled. How do you... Your left shoe is worn through at the heel. You're carrying an empty lunch container. You didn't eat today. Your hands have calluses from restaurant work. You took 2 buses to Gangnam, which means you live far outside because rent here costs more than some people make in months. He paused. Should I continue? No. I'm not judging. I'm observing. There's a difference. What exactly will I be doing? Learning, watching, being where I tell you to be. That's vague. It's intentional. The car turned through massive iron gates. The estate spread before them. Modern architecture, perfect gardens, stone pathways lit with expensive lights. This was power made visible. Minho will show you to the guest house, Ji-won said. You'll stay there. Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., someone will bring appropriate clothes. We have a meeting at 9. What kind of meeting? The kind where you sit, listen, and say absolutely nothing. Chi got out, hesitating. Mr. Kang, thank you. For the wine, for this chance. I won't let you down. Something in his expression softened. You already didn't. You could have run. You stayed and tried to fix it. That's rarer than you think. Inside the car, Minho returned to the driver's seat. Should I run a background check? Full workup, everything. You think she's a plant? No. Ji-won's eyes were on the guest house. But I need to know who she is before I decide how much truth I can afford to tell her. Chi woke to sunlight streaming through real curtains. She'd slept in a real bed with sheets that smelled like lavender. Someone had left expensive clothes outside her door, perfectly her size. At exactly 6 a.m., she knocked on the main house door. Minho opened it. Mr. Kong is in the gym. Follow me. The gym was massive. In the center, Ji-won was at a weight machine, working his upper body with focused intensity. His arms were powerful, corded with muscle. Sweat gleamed on his skin. Each movement was controlled, precise. He saw her in the mirror but didn't stop. You're early. I said 6. Most people would take that as sometime around 6:30. Is that bad? No. It's good. Breakfast is in 20 minutes. Coffee's on the counter. Chi poured herself a cup, watching him work. The wheelchair sat empty nearby, and she understood how much strength it took for him to move through the world the way he did. Can I ask something? You can ask. I might not answer. Why do you push yourself so hard if... She stopped. If I'll never walk again? He moved to another machine. Because strong arms keep me independent. Because physical pain is easier to control than sitting still with my thoughts. Because giving up is worse than breaking. Because I refuse to be pitied. He wheeled over, took his own coffee. Your turn. Why were you so desperate for that job? And don't say you just needed money. Why desperately? Chi wrapped her hands around the warm cup. My visa, student visa. I ran out of money for classes. If I don't re-enroll by next month, I get deported. Back to where? Nigeria or America? I have citizenship in both. But you can't go back. It wasn't a question. No. Why not? Because I haven't found what I came here for. They looked at each other, both hiding something. What are you looking for? Answers. About. My family. Something shifted in Ji-won's expression. Recognition. Or guilt. What happened to your family, Chi? Before she could answer, Minho entered. Sir, they're here. Ji-won's face closed off. We'll continue this later. Come with me. Remember, watch everything, listen to everything, say nothing. The study was dark wood and expensive art. 5 men were already seated when Ji-won entered, Chi following like a shadow. These men were dangerous. Chi could feel it, the way they moved like predators pretending to be civilized. Ji-won. An older man stood, distinguished and silver-haired. Good morning. You're looking well. Sang-hoon. Everyone. Ji-won wheeled to the head of the table. Chi took a seat in the corner with a notebook, trying to be invisible. They discussed business like weather, port shipments, territory disputes, Money moving through channels Chi didn't understand. Someone mentioned the name Nakamura, and everyone tensed except Sung-hoon, who smiled. Chi wrote everything down, but she also watched. Sung-hoon touched his watch 3 times when talking about shipment dates. A younger man wouldn't meet Ji-won's eyes. Another kept glancing at Sung-hoon before speaking. The meeting lasted 90 minutes. When people filed out, Sung-hoon paused by the door. "The new assistant," he smiled at Chi, and it didn't reach his eyes. "Is she trustworthy?" "As trustworthy as anyone in this room. In our business, Ji-lon, outsiders can be dangerous, a liability. She's not an outsider anymore. I claimed her last night. That makes her family. And we protect family. Don't we, Sung-hoon?" Sung-hoon's smile sharpened. "Of course. Family above everything." When the door closed, Ji-won gestured for Chi to sit. "Tell me what you noticed." "Sung-hoon doesn't trust me." "What else?" "He touched his watch when he said the shipment would arrive Thursday, 3 times, and Taejun is afraid of you, but more afraid of Sung-hoon. He looked at Sung-hoon before answering every question." Ji-won leaned back. "You're observant." "You told me to watch." "Most people watch and see nothing." Ji-won wheeled toward the window, his back to her now. The silence that followed wasn't comfortable. It pressed against Chi's chest like a weight. Outside, the gardens stretched in perfect symmetry. Every stone placed with intention, every tree trimmed to precision. Beautiful and controlled, but somehow suffocating. "I'm going to tell you something now. After I do, you can leave with 3 months' salary and I'll make sure you're taken care of. Or you can stay, and your life will never be simple again. It will never be safe. You'll never be able to go back to who you were before this moment." Chi's mouth went dry. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. "Okay." He turned to face her, and the look in his eyes made her stomach drop. This was it. Whatever he was about to say would change everything. 8 years ago, there was a fire in Itaewon, a safe house being used by American military families. He paused, watching her face. 4 people died. Chi went completely still. Her lungs stopped working. The room tilted. Diana and Amara Adeyemi, mother and daughter. His eyes never flinched, never looked away, forcing her to hear every word. There was another daughter, younger, 15 years old. She survived. The world narrowed to a pinpoint. Chi's vision blurred at the edges, her hands went numb. "How?" Her voice cracked. She swallowed, tried again. "How do you know that name?" "Because I ordered the strike on that building." The air didn't just leave the room. It was ripped out, torn away, leaving nothing but vacuum and shock and a ringing in her ears like someone had detonated a bomb inside her skull. Chi shot to her feet so fast, her chair crashed backward, hitting the floor with a crack that echoed like a gunshot. "You!" The word came out strangled. Her chest heaved. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't... "I was told it was a weapons cache. Nakamura family operation. Guns, explosives, enough firepower to level a city block." Ji-won's voice stayed steady, unflinching, like he was giving testimony he'd rehearsed 1,000 times. "I sent my team in to clear it before they could move the weapons, before anyone else got hurt. By the time I arrived and realized there were civilians inside, that the intelligence was wrong, that there were families sleeping in those rooms," his jaw tightened. "It was too late. The fire had already started, already spreading." Chi's hands were shaking so hard she had to press them against her thighs. "You're lying. You have to be lying." "I went in anyway," he continued like she hadn't spoken. "Pulled out a girl from the 2nd floor, 15 years old, unconscious, burn scars on her left shoulder and neck. I carried her out myself, put her in a hospital under a fake name, paid for everything, surgeries, skin grafts, medication, protection. When I came back 2 days later to check on her, to make sure she was safe," he paused, "she was gone. Disappeared. No records. No trace. I've been looking for her ever since. Ji's hand went to her left shoulder automatically, fingers pressing against the raised scars hidden beneath her shirt, the scars she saw every morning in the mirror, the scars that still ached when it rained, the scars that marked her as a survivor when she had wanted to die. My sister died in that fire. The words came out broken, jagged, cutting her throat on the way out. Amara, she was 19 years old. She wanted to be a doctor. She used to sing in the shower even though she couldn't carry a tune. She helped me with my homework every night, even when she was exhausted. She promised we'd travel the world together someday. Tears were streaming down her face, now hot and unstoppable. You died choking on smoke because of you. Because you believed some lie and didn't bother to check. Because you sent men with guns and fire into a building full of sleeping people. I know. His voice was soft, devastated. I know, Chi. I've lived with that every single day since. My mother! Chi's voice broke completely. She pressed her hand over her mouth, trying to hold back the sob clawing up her throat. The reports said she died too, but her body was never found, never identified in the rubble. I've spent 8 years wondering if that means something, if maybe... Stop. She held up her hand, shaking her head. Just stop talking, stop trying to make this okay, stop trying to... Why are you telling me this? She looked at him, really looked at him, searching his face for the monster she imagined for 8 years, but all she saw was guilt. Bone-deep, soul-crushing guilt. Why now? Why bring me here, give me a job, get close to me, just to, what, confess, ask for forgiveness, ease your conscience? Because someone gave me false intelligence that night. Someone wanted those people dead, wanted your family dead, and wanted me to take the blame for it. I spent 8 years trying to figure out who. 8 years following trails that went cold, tracking money that disappeared, watching everyone around me and wondering who I could trust. He paused. And now I think I know. Chi's breath was coming in short, sharp gasps. Who is responsible for all of this? Choi Sang-hoon, my second in command. The man who just left this room smiling. Silence crashed over them like a wave. Chi stood there, shaking, tears still streaming down her face, her whole world spinning. You're lying. But even as she said it, she knew he wasn't. She could see it in his eyes. The truth, the certainty, the rage he'd been carrying. I'm not. You killed my family, and now you want me to believe it's someone else's fault. That you're just some innocent pawn who was manipulated. Her voice rose, sharp and bitter. That's convenient, isn't it? That's so freaking convenient. I'm giving you the truth. What you do with it is your choice. She laughed, and the sound that came out of her mouth was ugly. Broken glass and rusty nails and everything jagged inside her. You should kill me. She took a step toward him. I should kill you right now. With my bare hands, make you feel what they felt. Make you... You could try. He didn't flinch, didn't move. Just sat there in his wheelchair looking at her with those dark, steady eyes. Waiting. You think I'm joking? Her voice shook. Her whole body shook. No, I think you're angry. I think you have every right to be angry, every right to hate me, every right to want me dead. He leaned forward slightly. But killing me won't bring them back, Chi. It won't give you your sister. It won't give you those 8 years you lost. And it won't give you the truth about why it happened. What truth? She spat the words. What possible truth could matter now? Why they were targeted specifically? Why Sang-hoon wanted them dead? What your mother was really doing in Korea beyond translating documents from military families? That stopped her, made her breath catch. What do you mean? Diana Adeyemi wasn't just a translator. She was working with military intelligence, gathering evidence on Nakamura family operations. Human trafficking, weapons smuggling, money laundering across 3 countries. She had documentation that could have destroyed them completely. Names, dates, bank accounts, shipping routes, everything. He paused. And someone leaked her location to them. And you think it's Sang-hoon? Chi's voice was flat now, exhausted. I think Sang-hoon has been working with the Nakamura family for years. I think he gave them your mother's location, then fed me false intelligence to make me think the building was an enemy target that needed to be cleared immediately. 2 birds, 1 stone. Your mother dies before she can expose them. I take the blame for the attack, and the Nakamura family keeps operating without anyone asking questions. Chi walked to the window on legs that felt like they might give out. She pressed her forehead against the cool glass, staring out at those perfect gardens without seeing them. Why tell me any of this? Why drag me into your war? Because 2 years ago, someone tried to kill me. A car bomb hidden in the driver's door. Killed my driver instantly. Good man, loyal. Someone who'd been with me for years. Left me like this. He gestured to the wheelchair. The intelligence that led me to drive that specific route at that exact time came from the same source. Sang-hoon. He blamed the Nakamura family just like he did with the safe house, but I've been watching him since then, gathering evidence, tracking his movements, and I think he's planning to finish what he started. Chi turned slowly. So you want me to help you get revenge? Use me as bait, put a target on my back so you can catch him. I want to give you a choice. He held her gaze. Walk away right now. I'll give you enough money to finish your degree anywhere in the world. New identity if you need it. Protection if you want it. You can start over somewhere new, somewhere safe, somewhere this doesn't touch you. Or stay. Help me prove Sang-hoon's guilt. Get justice for your family. Real justice, not just revenge. Maybe find out if your mother is still alive. Chi's head snapped toward him. You think she's alive? His voice was gentle now, careful. I don't know. But if she is, Sang-hoon would have spent 8 years trying to find her. And if she's managed to stay hidden this long, there's a reason. Something she knows, something she has, something worth killing for. Chi walked back toward him, slowly, each step deliberate. Her tears had stopped, but her face was still wet. She stopped directly in front of his wheelchair, looking down at him. If I stay, if I help, I need one promise. Name it. When this is over, if we prove he's guilty, if we find the truth, I want to be there when he faces justice. I want to look him in the eye when he realizes that the people he tried to destroy came back and destroyed him instead. I want him to know it was me, that I survived, that I won. Juwon nodded slowly. Deal. Chi extended her hand. It was still shaking slightly, but she held it steady. Juwon took it. His grip was firm, warm, human. They shook. A contract sealed not in signatures or lawyers or legal documents, but in shared pain and shared rage and the promise of retribution. The days blurred together. Jiwon taught her the organization's structure, 12 captains, each controlling different territories. She attended meetings, learned to read the silences between words. She started seeing the patterns. Money that didn't add up, shipments intercepted, communications that stopped before operations failed. One evening, Chi found Jiwon on the terrace, whiskey in hand, staring at Seoul's lights. She sat beside him without asking. Long silence. Comfortable, somehow. You don't have to stay, Jiwon said finally. This life destroys people, takes everything good and burns it away. I was already destroyed. I'm just picking up the pieces differently. That's a lonely way to live, says the man drinking alone at 2 a.m. He laughed. The sound surprised them both. Tell me about your sister. She looked at him. Why? Because I need to know who she was. So she's not just a name in a file, so I can understand what I took from the world. So Chi talked about Amara, how she'd wanted to be a doctor, how she sang off-key and couldn't cook but tried anyway, how she used to help Chi with homework no matter how tired she was, how she'd promised they'd travel the world together. Jiwon listened, really listened. When she finished, her eyes were wet. She sounds like she was extraordinary. She was. I'm sorry I never got to know her. And I'm sorry you lost her because of me. It was the most honest apology Chi had ever heard. It didn't fix anything, but somehow it mattered. A week later, Chi was digging through old financial records when her hands started shaking. She found Juan in his study. I found something. She showed him the document, a financial transfer from the night of the safe house attack. $10 million to an offshore account. Whose account? It's encrypted, but that amount? That's not payment for intelligence. That's payment for assassination. They stared at each other. This was real. This was evidence. We need more, Jiwon said. One document isn't enough to convince the council. They've trusted Sang-hoon for 20 years. We need something undeniable. Then we get more. Late one night, Chi was working while Jiwon did physical therapy, pull-ups on specially designed bars. She'd been staring at the same medical report for 20 minutes. Jiwon? He'd stopped being Mr. Kang 2 days ago. This report, from your accident, the bomb was in the driver's door, not under the car. Specifically, the driver's door. He stopped exercising. So you always drive yourself on Thursdays. But that day, Minho drove instead. Why? Jiwon went still. I got a call from Sang-hoon. He said there was a security threat. He insisted I take a driver that day. Their eyes met. He knew, Chi said slowly. He knew where the bomb was. He called to make sure you wouldn't be driving. But why not just kill me? Because a dead leader creates chaos. A weak leader creates opportunity. He could slowly take control while you recovered. She started pulling more files. The safe house. Was your driver there too that night? Yes, Kim Do-hoon. He died in the fire trying to get people out. Did he know something about Sang-hoon? Jiwon's eyes widened. Do-yoon handled all my secure communications. If Sang-hoon was leaking information, Do-yoon would have noticed patterns eventually. So Sang-hoon kills him in the safe house attack. 8 years later, when you get a new driver handling communications, he kills him too and tries to kill you. Anyone who gets close enough to see his betrayal ends up dead. Heavy silence. We're close enough now, Chi said. Yes. He's going to try to kill us. Yes. She smiled, and it wasn't happy. It was sharp, dangerous. Good. Good? If he comes for us, he makes a mistake, and when he makes a mistake, we catch him. They shared a look, understanding, partnership, something else neither wanted to name yet. Then Chi noticed him wince. You're in pain. I'm always in pain. Let me help. You're not a physical therapist. My mom was a nurse before she was a translator. She taught me. She approached carefully. He didn't stop her. Tell me where. He guided her hands to his lower back. She applied pressure, professional but careful. There was something else in the air now, an awareness. That's better. Thank you. You need to stretch more. You're always tense. Comes with the job. Which job? Crime boss or martyr? Another laugh, softer this time. She kept working, hands on his shoulders now, his eyes closed. The moment stretched, quiet and charged. Why don't you hate me? His voice was barely a whisper. I do hate you. Part of me will always hate you. But hate is exhausting. It burns and eventually destroys you more than the person you're hating. She paused. And you're not who I thought you'd be. What did you think? A monster. Someone cruel for the sake of it. And now? Now I think you're a man who made a terrible mistake and has spent 8 years trying to fix it, even though he knows he can't. He opened his eyes, turned to look at her. Their faces were close, too close. I can't fix it. I can't bring them back. No, but you can make sure their deaths meant something, that the truth comes out. That's more than most people get. The air between them felt electric, both aware, both not moving. Minho's voice shattered the moment. Sir, we have a problem. They separated quickly, professional distance snapping back. What is it? Song-hoon just moved 500 million won offshore, and he's called an emergency council meeting tomorrow night. Jiwon and she exchanged looks. Everything they've been building toward was about to happen. Then tomorrow, Jiwon said quietly, we end this. But as Minho left and she turned back to the files, neither of them saw the shadow outside the window. Someone had been watching. Someone had been listening. And in a car parked 3 blocks away, Song-hoon smiled as he listened to the recording his planted surveillance had just captured. So, the crippled boss has been investigating me, and he's using that foreign girl to do it. How predictable. He pulled out his phone, made a call. Change of plans for tomorrow's meeting. I want extra security, and I want someone watching the girl. If Jiwon thinks he's setting a trap, Song-hoon's smile widened, he's about to learn what a real trap looks like. So there you have it, best friends. The tension is building, and we don't even know what Song-hoon is planning. Do you really want to know? Let me know in the comments section. Stay blessed. Thanks for watching.